All right, everybody. Terrence Popp here with another episode of Live from the Lair. All right. Now, today, this comedy lecture is going to talk about motivation, hunger, and complacency. One of the things I've noticed over the years as I progress through life, I've noticed that the men behind me seem to be way more complacent than the ones I came up with, at least the ones in my peer group. This one phrase says it all. You can play the game to finish, but you will seldom, if ever, win. All right. We have a whole bunch of dudes out there who are stuck in complacency land. Now, I understand a lot of you guys out there, you're red pill MGTOW guys, MGTOW monks. It is what it is. I'm not knocking you guys. Some of you out there probably are stuck in a complacent mindset because what's the point? All of the rewards that we men used to get for being hungry and striving, for the most part, have been taken away. But that should not fucking matter. All right? You should be hungry no matter what. It is the basis of a man's nature is to conquer, dominate, win. Now, just because, you're not really, chasing tail, should it turn that off? I would argue no. There's a lot of things that could be done on this planet and on Earth that don't necessarily require the ticket into the slimy tunnel, if you know what I mean. All right, what I'm trying to say is don't let women be the only motivation in your goddamn life. You should be motivated and hungry to improve, do great things, leave your mark, find your purpose, strive, and be the best man that you can. There is no buts or only ifs. Every man should have that mindset. And if you don't, you need to reevaluate it.
Are you the kind of person who's run out of feelings to hurt?
Yeah. Wah, wah, wah.
Wah.
Then we have the Redonkulas swag for you. And we have multiple locations where you can get it. Go to the Stream Elements store or Crypto Fashion and embrace your inner fat punisher. Because after all,
There's a little bad pop in all of us. Even your mother.
shirts, stickers, mugs, and hats are on sale now. Your support helps keep us independent from big tech and keeps this life-saving train on the tracks. Links are in the Meat Gazer box.
In my younger years, I was incredibly driven. So I know what I'm talking about here. I mean, I did infantry, paratrooper, airborne ranger, Green Beret, several wars, Purple Hearts, CIBs, the whole deal. And while I was getting the shit kicked out of me to do all of that stuff, because everyone required a selection or a school, and there were very stiff, standards. If you didn't pass, you were done. And what I didn't realize until about a decade after I finished the Q course in '92 was they actually took an average beta dude, that's what I used to be, threw me back into the forge, melted me down with hate and pain, took me out and beat the shit out of me with the hammers of hate and pain to forge me into the man that I am now. And once you're made that way, you cannot be unmade. Now, you don't necessarily need to have the military on your back to, strive to become better, to evolve to a higher level than what you used to be. And I would say that should be your main motivation for the rest of your life. Be more than the sum of your parts. Don't be complacent. Be hungry. Now, behind me, you'll see the lists. I have complacent right here. Now, I'm going to give you the standard warning. I have dyslexia. If it's not spelled correctly, I don't fucking care. As long as my words get into your thinking meat, I can flip some switches and get you put in the right direction. It's all worth it. And you naysayers out there can rip on me all you want because I don't care. So, suck a dick. Typically, if you are complacent, you tend to stay in place. Meaning, once you find a place where you think you might belong or someplace that's safe, it's a safe space. If you have a complacent mindset, you want to stay there. You're not going to grow. The key to being here on the planet is to evolve and grow to something better, not stay where you're at. And because you stay in place, you tend to develop a stagnant mindset. And this is very common for older people to actually fall into this rut. I would say I'm starting to see myself stagnating mentally and not moving as forward as fast as I would like. All right? You got to be careful. Don't allow your mind to stagnate. All right? You get tunnel vision on life. Most people out there who are in the complacent mindset, that tunnel vision is retirement. All right, they literally have tunnel vision and they just walk forward until they get to that goal of retiring. There is so much more shit outside that tunnel vision that poor individual is missing out on. Like, quite literally, your life turns into a very stagnant song or score of music that I used to use when I explain this to my soldiers, and it goes something like this. Dun-ch, 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 da-da. It's monotonous. Your life becomes monotonous if you are stuck in complacency. All right. Because you're stagnating and you're staying in place, you tend not to progress in life. All right, now there's a dude that I went to high school with named Bob. I'm not going to say his last name. He's dead now. And he and I came to blows a few times in middle school and in high school years. It is what it is. I don't hate the guy. Didn't really dislike him much. It was just the way it worked out. But he basically stayed in the same town, did jobs that were good enough, and quite literally, because he was so stagnant, he died of a heart attack. Could have been the poke and smoke, who knows? Maybe it was. I didn't inquire. But that's what I'm trying to convey to you gentlemen out there today. All right, so we already talked about your life devolving into a tedious routine. And you play the game of life to finish. Now, when I started this lecture off, you play the game to finish, you will seldom, if ever, win. You have a defeatist mindset, meaning you don't even start to do something new. You hear like arguments coming out of your mouth like, what's the point? Why should I do that? This is ridiculous. All right? You got to stop this defeatist mindset. This is quite literally an anchor connected to the ground right behind you, holding you back. And most of the time, you put the anchor there yourself. Next, you stop at discomfort. Meaning, you work out, but you really, when you get to a certain discomfort level, you don't want to go beyond that, or you just quit. If you want to progress in life, win, and be successful, quitting is not the answer. Unless you want to be a champion quitter. And there's all kinds of people like that living in the street. Become a slave to fear. Meaning, while you are in the complacent mindset, you fear any person, place, or power that can take you out of your comfort zone. You fear that. You fear the pain of having to grow and change. That is how life works. People don't grow and change if they aren't thrown in the dirt, give them water and sustenance and have to deal with all of the bullshit to toughen you up. All right, stop being a slave to fear because it's keeping you stagnant in place, and there you die. You develop this thing I call the good enough attitude. How many times have you servicemen out there heard the phrase, well, it's good enough for government work? Well, that is a complacent mindset answer. Now, have I used that myself in the past? Yes, I have. Mainly, I used it on officers who wanted to basically try to dial something into the gnat's ass. And when you're dealing with 100 and some odd enlisted individuals, most of which barely finished high school, you can't do that. You have to talk to them at the grunt level. And that's what I'm doing here. All right, next, we have the hungry mindset. This is where you should be. If you are not here now, it's very simple to make the transition. You simply have to set up a routine and stick to it with a little bit of discipline. All right. Now, as you go along, the discipline doesn't really become required because you get used to the routine. You don't want to do something, but hey, the routine says I do it anyway. I do the same thing when I write. Don't want to write today? Oh, it's 2 o'clock. I'm going to write for 2 to 4 hours. Or it's 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. I'm going to the gym, even though I feel like shit and I don't want to do it. Routine trumps discipline in the end. Every time. All right? Hungry people take chances. Okay? I can't tell you how many complacent dudes out there are like, I don't want to invest in that because I could lose my money. Yes, you can. But if you do take the risks, sometimes the payoff is monumental. You develop an open mind. When you're hungry, you're curious. You're willing to learn new shit. You want new perspectives because you want to grow. Next, observant. When you are stuck in the complacent mindset with that tunnel vision, most people look at the ground or they're looking at that one thing in front of them. They don't see all of the other opportunities and other things that could be you could do in life. You have to be observant to those chances and then be willing to take the risks on those chances. That is how you win. That is how you play the game of life to win. All right? You need to always be on the move. Mainly, you want to be on the move because you don't want to goddamn stagnate. Stagnation is not good for anyone or anything. You also become adaptive. You are hungry. You have your goal. You're trying to get there. People are throwing obstacles in your way. Murphy shows up. Whitey shows up. The man shows up. They're just screwing everything up, trying to keep you from getting to your goal. And the only way to get there is to think outside the box and be adaptive. I know it sounds easy here. It's kind of difficult to hard, but you have to figure it out on the fly. This makes all the difference. Next, striving for a goal is exciting. Being complacent is boring as fuck. It sucks. A hungry person is playing the game of life to win, not finish. Now, winning might not necessarily growing to a ripe old age of 80. This one is another one that's important. Defeat does not stop you. It is a lesson. That's how you treat defeat. When I used to kickbox, all but one of my opponents who defeated me in a sanctioned bout, I was able to get a rematch and defeat them. The only one I wasn't able to do that one with was the world champion. All right, he dodged. He wanted to duck me after we fought the first time because I was such a stick in the mud. Don't let defeat stop you. Complacent people stop at defeat. Oh, I can't. I shot it down. That is a shitty attitude to have. You should be like, I lost. I lost because of this, this, and this. I'm going to work on those variables, and I'm going to go again. And even if you lose that time, I'm going again. Listen, you win when you stand up one more time than you were knocked down. Pain does not stop you. These guys stop at discomfort. You laugh at discomfort. You realize life is pain. And I'm going to have to endure pain to succeed in life. So become friends with pain. I learned how to do that one years and years ago. I wouldn't have been able to do all the shit I did in the military if I didn't become closely acquainted with agonizing pain. Overcome your fear. Fear is the mind killer. All right, that's from Dune, so I don't want to get a copyright strike, but a lot of people cook up all kinds of fears in their head, and they allow these fears to build walls in front of them, put them in a box, or just be a huge monumental weight they got to drag around. Why? I knew a guy in the Army, had a master's in music, played 4 instruments. And you know what he was doing for a living? He was working as a clerk typist in the Army. Because when I talked to him about it, he was like, well, people, they don't just, they won't like the music, and I don't know if I could do it. Listen, he went to school to be a musician, and he's not working as a musician because he's afraid what people think of him. I've been saying this on the show for years. When you care about what people think of you, you are forever their slave. Always strive to improve. Never be complacent with how you are. Always strive to improve. Shave a minute off your run. Put 5 to 10 pounds on your bench press. Strive for that next color belt in the martial art you're studying for. Go to night school and take a couple classes, even if it's just for a hobby. Strive to improve. And it doesn't matter if you want to get married or have a girlfriend or not. Listen, if you are a man, you're on your frame, and you're in it to win it, you literally have your eyes on the prize. You are hungry, and you are striving to get there. And if a woman wants to come along, great. But you don't ever let her get in the way. The minute she starts complaining, jettison her like garbage from a garbage scow. And Charlie Mike the mission. That means carry on. All right. Now, I've been putting out these lectures for a pretty good reason. I want to improve the lives of the men out there that watch this show. I get a lot of emails from guys who want, advice, or they're asking me questions. And a lot of the stuff that I read, I literally, as I'm reading the paragraphs, I'm going down this in my mind, that the person sent this in is in a defeatist mindset. I'm literally reading the email. I can tell almost immediately they are stuck in a complacent / defeatist mindset. And I have to give them advice or answer their questions to put them fucking over here. Because this is where you should be. On your game. Every day. You don't stop until you're fucking dead. And if you can keep going after that. That's all I have to say today, gentlemen. Take it easy.